housing market in Farmville, North Carolina.
But first, let's hit it. Hi, Alan Victoria. Welcome to our Talent Podcast.
And if this is your first time in our podcast YouTube channel, make sure you subscribe and get notified.
Honestly, call text all the time at 252-327-3357. We love talking to you. No question is too small. And don't forget to get our buyer's guide and seller's guide in the description below.
Exactly. Today we're gonna dive into the more data about the last 2 years of the history of the different kind of tiers of levels of homes, no?
Right, and what we did was we divided it between the highest and the lowest. So the top 10%, which is typically considered luxury, anything in the top 10% in any market is luxury homes. Anything at the lowest 10 would obviously be the thing, and then the rest of it, the 80% in the middle. So
exactly.
We look at all of this data to give you this real understanding of what houses cost in the area at the high, the low, and the median. And then we're also going to look at income data from the U.S. Census to tell us where the income kind of distribution lies and things like that.
Exactly. And then you as a home buyer and home sellers, we can interpret this data for you to match your portfolio.
Right. So now let's talk about luxury, which is the top 10% of all homes in any market in Farmville, North Carolina. So in Farmville, the top 10 homes started at $385,000. Let me repeat that, $385,000. So you're looking at a really, really nice home for starter luxury in Farmville.
Yes. And if you go to the top 5 or elite, is like 4 houses that was in the market and 390, 500. That is where you were starting from the second tiers.
Right, and the top 1% of all homes sold in Farmville in the past 2 years was $438,000. So you can see the distribution of homes is for luxury. I mean, it's tight. It's a small city, but you can see how much they're paying at the top. Now let's talk about that biggest middle,
which is the 80 percentile.
Right. And so the top 20% of all homes, which was 9 houses, how much were those?
They were started from 330 to 500,000.
Now the mid 40% was
exactly.
240,000,
exactly.
240 and above, of course, and that's 19 houses, and those two are the most houses in Farmville, to be honest.
And the 40% really start from 18 houses. And start from 240.
Right. And then if you want to go to the mid 60 percentile, there were 19 houses there, and there's 188,000 and up.
Yes, and the last one, the 80%, is gonna start from 140, and there were 9 houses there.
And that started 140,000, right? So and up. So if you were 145, 150, that's in the bottom 80%, but still in the middle, like that's the 80 percentile, because the lowest, cheapest 10%. Now we're gonna get into that. So the lowest of the 10% started at 89,000, and there were 5 homes in that point. What else?
And 3 houses in the second, the 5% low is 45K.
And there was 1 house that sold in the lowest 1%, just like the highest 1%, the lowest 1% also 1 home, and that was 40,000. And you can see in our graph.
And to be honest, actually, this tree is mostly is a flipping house that you need to flip those houses.
But you can see most houses in this chart are going to go between 140 to 385. So that is kind of your bulk of homes in the Farmville area.
Yes. Now, on top of this housing distribution and the prices, we wanted to involve also the factor of the income for people that they live in Farmville, which my wife got from the website of the government.
Now, the government also classifies us via zip code, so this might not be everybody in Farmville that is Farmville zip code, and that is where most of it is going to be. So I just want to kind of give you that little...
Yes, but we are looking at incomes from less than $10,000 per year all the way to $200,000 and more per year.
Right. So at less than $10,000 per year, there are 12.7% in Farmville.
And 10 to 15,000 really are just 3% of the distribution.
15 to 25,000 was 7.6, which brings under 25K up to which is 23.3% of the population of Farmville.
And 25K is really 23.3% of the people.
Okay, so 25 to 35,000, we had 12%. Sorry for the awkward pause there. 12%. Then the next one is
35 to 50, which is 17.7%.
Right, so you can see there's a lot of numbers there. Now we're going to go interesting as well. 50 to 75 is 11.4% of the population.
And 75 to 100,000 is 11.8%.
Right, and 100,000 to 150,000 was 16.9% of the population.
And 150 to 200, there were 3.6%.
And $200,000 and more, it's 3.3. Now, again, when we look at this data, you can see there's a decent amount of people living really with a nice income in a place where you can buy a really reasonably priced home.
Exactly. And then at the end, if you collect all this data, the median income really for Farmville is $44,766 per year.
And if you look at the mean income, that's $65,252, which means at those prices, you can still definitely buy a home. And we're happy to talk to you about that if you want to stay in Farmville. Now, let's talk about luxury.
Let's talk about why all the bulleted point from all this number that we throw at you, the statistic from the government, and at today's, which is the summer of 2023, what is the situation is for the different level income, the home buyers and home sellers in the Farmville, North Carolina.
Okay, so when we did simple calculations, we're not lenders. We are definitely not lenders, and we do not know your personal income. We do not know your data. We do not know your interest, and everything is going to be dependent upon you in all of these situations, 100%. So I just did basic, went online, said, here's the basic math. If somebody was going to do a very simple thing, and it might not pertain to you, but it gives us like a base to understand. So at a 7.2% interest rate, which is high at the filming of this video, at least high when we're filming this, and it could be a very different interest rate based on whenever you are. And I did the math a couple days ago, so the interest rate's already kind of different than when I did it. But at 3.5% down, we're talking about on $385,000 home, which gets us to the starter luxury. We're talking approximately a $3,100 payment that includes taxes, interest, home insurance, all of that stuff.
Yes, and definitely impact that you should consider the affordability really is impacted by the interest rate that is in the current market.
Right, but if your interest rate, if your income is between 45 to 65, you will still have a budget in Farmville to be buying a home.
And if you're less than or 25,000 per year, we have a video that you can watch in our channel. And that's going to help you with the strategy and then understanding the homes market and how you can proceed, for purchasing a home.
Right, and we told you before, we're not lenders, so we cannot tell you advice on a lot of information because we're just giving you general information, and your situation can be very different from the numbers we talked about as the example for luxury. Now, if you are a home seller or home buyer looking at those luxury homes, though, you have to be super competitive. You are competing against a lot of factors because Farmville is not the only place in town that someone might be looking for, but you want to be able to attract the top 10% of all people looking to live in Farmville. We have to make sure your house looks amazing, and we're happy to talk to you about that.
Yeah, exactly. And then affordable homes really determine what is that, the affordable home?
Well, listing price based on what you can actually afford in your area. So you want to look at the value and the features that make it attractive to you. And everybody's is going to be a little different. But if you want to make sure you're staying in your budget, and Farmville definitely has homes in everybody's budget, which is a nice thing about Farmville.
And then we need to also implement effective marketing strategy for you to reach the potential home buyers looking for the homes. This is for the seller in the budget that they are searching for homes in Farmville, North Carolina.
Okay, so we hope you found all of this information jam-packed full of good stuff, and we can't wait to talk to you about your buying or selling in Farmville. Call us at 252-327-3357, and don't forget our guides.
Exactly, and thank you for subscribing in our podcast and YouTube channel, and see you in the next podcast and video.